Good evening, everybody, and welcome to What's Up, Cuz? I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach himself, Lanny, Irvin. Cuz, how you doing? You got a big lighted tree going on behind you. What's up, baby?
Cuz in honor of Christmas, and my wife did an excellent job decorating our tree, I said I'm going to throw it out there for the whole world to see. So shout out to my wife, Paula Rice Irvin, for decorating the tree. And, I said, let me try something different this week. So.
Okay, well, it would be nice if we can see the tree, but you got a big old head, so we can.
You know what?
so
That's all right, though. I don't expect anything less coming from you. Now, don't get me started. You and Maya try to bring out the worst in me. But you know what, though? I can always change my seat around. Let me change my... See, so now you see my tree a little bit better. See? It's just a minor adjustment.
That's what you want to call it. Okay. We'll say
it's a minor adjustment. I need to sit up a little bit. I'm a little small, but, y'all get it. You get it. What's up, cuz? I mean, everything going good?
I'm doing good, baby. I'm doing good. I'm trying to see what you went like straight yellow neutral this week with your clothing attire, huh?
I felt like doing something different. After we had my man Cam Smith on, he was talking about hoodies and all this stuff. I said, let me try something different. But you'll never know. I might pull out my employee number 8 jersey for our next segment at about 7 o'clock. I mean, the All-Star edition. I'm not trying to brag anything. I can pull it out if I want to. And the way you can tell, it has a little star, a little patch, All-Star patch on it.
Okay. I ain't mad at you. Well, I went with the Texas A&M University Aggies hat to go along with our first guest. I want to pay some homage to her. We've got a loaded show. But, I wanted to play a little homage to the Texas A&M Aggies and the women's basketball program. They are top 10 program right now, bro.
That's my favorite women's team other than where I'm working. And you know what? I'm sure I got some Texas A&M laying around here. I might have to go run and put it on for my little sister, Kelly Bonds. So I might do that. I don't know.
Okay. And that is one of your many former employers as well. So
paychecks cash. Yeah, Paula Rice Irvin eating, Lance Irvin eating, Brooklyn Irvin, Byron Irvin, Mac Irvin. Everybody had a piece of those checks.
I know that's right. So welcome to all our viewers. Welcome to What's Up, Cuz. We are doing this show in conjunction with the Chicago Crusader Newspaper, which is the oldest weekly African-American newspaper in Chicago. And we talk about a whole lot of stuff, but primarily we talk about sports of all sorts. We try to bring people from our community directly to the community and information that you need to know about sports on a variety of different topics. And we are now, this is show number 18 for us. We've been doing this 6 months, man.
18. Wow. 18. It's going by fast, but we having a great time. We had some really great guests on. I mean, I spoke to one of our former guests, Danny Manny, earlier.
How's Danny doing?
Not trying to name drop. He's doing great. Danny on ESPN. He said he's having a great time doing it too. But, hopefully Danny had an opportunity to get back in coaching. I think he's a great coach, and, he just needs another opportunity to show people what he can do.
I agree. Danny was one of our first guests on the show, and he's a great guy, and we'd love to have him back as the season progresses here. If the season progresses, I don't know, man. This COVID is rough, man. Our good friend Chris Collins just lost a game today, I saw.
Did he? I missed that, Jay. Like I keep saying on every show, COVID is working on this jump shot too. So, we just want everybody in the community and everybody playing to stay safe first and foremost. This is a disease. I know it's a vaccine coming out, but like you mentioned earlier in the previous show, we want everybody to stay safe. But I didn't know Chris lost a game, huh?
Yeah, Chris lost a game the other day. Somebody was supposed to play, and they're like, nope, that ain't gonna happen. I was like, wow. So, what can I say? But we got a lot of good guests coming on the show here today as well. Kind of want to let everybody know who we've got coming on. So we've got 4 guests actually coming on today. Our first guest, he'll be on about 6:15, 6:20. Our good friend Kendrick Prince, he's coming on. He's going to talk about everything that's been going on down at the University of Illinois over the last 48 hours. Lovie Smith has been fired. The basketball team lost the game in the Battle of the Border at the University of Missouri. And some really sad news. Former Illini assistant coach and head coach at the University of Illinois Chicago, Jimmy Collins, passed away yesterday. So it's a lot of news going on down there. So he's going to jump on. Then at 6:30, we got your good friend from Texas A&M University. Oh, say her name.
Oh, that's my girl, Kelly Bond White. That's my girl right there. She's a great coach and a better person, though. And I tell you what, though, Jay, woo, that girl knows, that young lady, she knows basketball.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She's the
Hell of a-
associate. She's the associate head coach down there at Texas A&M, and she's going to talk to us about what it means to be an assistant coach and how important assistant coaches and associate head coaches are to the coaching structure of a team, and so she's going to talk a lot about that. She's been an assistant for 18 years, and I got the feeling she's going to be a head coach probably the next year or so, but she's going to talk about that. Then at 7 o'clock, oh man, our good friend of the family, we've known him since he was born pretty much. Former NBA All-Star, he's an NBA champion, he's an NCAA champion, Chicago native, Antoine Walker.
Employee number 8, Cybertwine, one of the original point forwards in the NBA, is coming on talking about NBA and all the other things that we want to talk to him about. So I'm happy to have big fella on today.
Yeah, he's gonna come on. And then at 7:30, we got the head coach of the men's basketball team at Western Illinois University, Coach Jeter. Rob
Jeter. I tell you what, man, Rob is a great guy, great coach, good person. And, we had to bring Rob on because anybody that's putting up with Nick for these past couple of months, he deserves to have a spot on the show now. But Rob is a good friend also, so we have a packed show. You get a chance to ask a lot of questions. I just sit back and bring my girl Maya out at some point in time in the show because Jay, I'm going to say something to piss off. And Maya's going to make a special appearance. So we'll see.
No, you do not get to sit back and have me doing all these interviews all day. Hey, you will be chiming in, sir, with your questions.
I'm not saying a word. I'm just going to sit there. Matter of fact, everybody, we need to get the What's Up Cuz coffee and tea cups. So that's coming out, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to get rid of this in a couple of months. So What's Up Cuz coffee and tea mugs coming out shortly.
Yeah, we got some paraphernalia that's coming up. We are working on that and getting some paraphernalia to get out to the people to help promote our show and promote us. So we definitely have all that good stuff coming. So, but before I go any further, let me tell you, download that app, the SportsZone Chicago app. That is where you get access to all the shows here on SportsZone Chicago. You can check out our live shows. If you happen to miss a show, you can always go back, check out our podcast. We got a variety of different shows on here. We got some really good content. So download that app. Go to iTunes. You can get it off Apple. You can get it off of Google. A lot of places you can get that app. Go ahead and get that app. That'll really help us out a lot as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for watching us on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching us on Facebook Live, we appreciate that as well. You can send us questions throughout the show and questions for our guests, and we'll try to get those up. So just go ahead and leave your comments out there. So man, it's been a big weekend, man. A big weekend of sports here. The Bears won a game.
We're back. We're back. 36-7. My Bears. I tell you what, Jay, I was so happy I couldn't hold it in. I kept doing double takes. I'm like, please hold on to the lead. Please hold on to the lead. So my Bears, congratulations, Bears. Let's go get it. Let's go get another one next week.
Congratulations to the Bears. I have nothing negative about them to say for this week, and I'm quite happy. I'm just very happy they won the game. We can get into who they were playing and all that, but why do that? They won the game. They broke a streak. Let's just give them their credit and move on,
I got tired of listening to Bag, man, after every loss.
I think Bagman was getting tired of putting on the bag too. But what can I say? Other news we got going on: Ohio State will play Northwestern this week in the Big Ten championship game in football. That game is coming up on Saturday. The Big Ten championship game, Northwestern and 5-0 Ohio State. That's all it took, man. Just win 5 games and we'll put you in the championship. Man, come on, man. What's going on with that, Lance?
You know what? My man is one of the assistants for the Ohio State University.
And he ain't been on our show yet.
So I'm working. Maybe after they win a national championship, he would come on. See, it's never too late. But anyway, I mean, Jay, they passed the eyeball test, and you and I both knew because a concession was going to be made when you're that good and that much money is involved.
Concession?
So, concession
way more than a concession, Lance.
It's called being good.
That's called That's called tilting the scales.
Time out. You know it's a different scale of rules. Like when you that dude on the team, you probably get a little bit different treatment than if you role player like Lance Irvin. Like Lance Irvin was gonna have to practice 6-7 days a week. If you was that dude and was getting 30 and 40, maybe you instead of practicing 3 hours, you're gonna have to practice about 2 hours.
Wow.
It's the same thing. When you're that good, how else can you explain it? You award-winning journalist. You help me understand it. I'm just gonna sit back and listen to you now.
You don't want me to delve into that subject.
I want you. We gonna delve into that at the end of the show. I want to hear what you and Mr. Myers say about
we
that.
We might do that off there.
You see what I said? I'm not touching that.
Trying to keep you out of trouble.
Let's go Ohio State. Let's go
Ohio State is taking on Northwestern in the Big Ten game. That's gonna be a big game. And I gotta mention it, man. My Miami Hurricanes. Man, we got throttled, dude. North Carolina, you know what, on Saturday. The score was like 62-26 or something ridiculous, man. And, I got a lot of good friends who go to who are alums of University of Central Florida. And they've been complaining ever since they went 12-0 and nobody gave them a chance to play for the national championship. And they just can't stand Miami. So as a favor to my boy Ryan down there in Florida, my fellow reporter, I will say my Miami Hurricanes stunk up the joint on Saturday, and they do not deserve to be in the Orange Bowl.
Hey, Jay, they got thumped, but I tell you what, they came out there with those black-on-black uniforms, though. They looked apart. I was like, ooh, that's impressive. Those uniforms was nice. Then once the game started, North Carolina, ooh, I'm not going to say nothing else about that. I'm going to be a kind of gentle person because I understand how it feels when you get throttled like that.
I hear you. So, a lot to talk about. We got a poll question, too, before we bring on our guy. Our poll question is sponsored by the Chicago Crusader Newspaper. Here's the poll question. What is your prediction for the Chicago Bulls this season? A, they will be improved but miss the playoffs. B, they will make the playoffs. C, they will compete for the championship. Or D, they will be bad again. To cast your vote, go to ChicagoCrusader.com. Go on there, answer a poll question. We'll have the results coming up next week. But let's not leave them in the green room any longer. Our good friend from the Chicago Crusader, their sports editor, Joseph Phillips. Joe, what's up, brother?
What's up,
cuz? How you feel? Oh, I see you went with the sweat outfit again. Okay.
Cardigan sweater.
Yeah, I love carnigans, man. Gotta rock the cardigan, brother.
I
love the Christmas tree. I love the Christmas tree in the background, man.
No thanks, because my younger cousin, I have to add that to the listener viewers. He keeps hating me. Like he said, my head was covering up the tree.
Oh, that's not nice.
Clowning. That's all
Is
right,
it true?
I still love him. Hey man, my wife rubs this head every night.
Uh-oh. Hey, I can't say nothing about that, brother.
Joseph, how you been, man?
Oh, I'm doing blessed, man. What a weekend. Amazing weekend for me. Covered the Bulls Friday and Sunday. Left the Bears game, went to the Bulls game. It was just crazy. So, it's been a busy weekend for me. And then I also wrote a piece on the Fighting Illini, falling to Missouri for the state bragging rights game, which went down to the wire. And shout out to Ayo, who exploded for 36 points in that game. Man. Needed a little help.
He did. That was that game is always a good game, man. Whenever it's those two going at it, doesn't matter what the record is, it kind of brings out the best. And we're going to have our good friend Kedrick Prince. He's going to come on here in a few minutes, and Joseph and I are going to chop up a lot of the U of I news that's been going on down there the last couple of days. But in addition to the Fighting Illini, what else, Joseph, are you working on this week for the Chicago Crusader?
I also wrote a story on Jimmy Collins passing. Chicago legend, great man. I did meet him once in my life when I was covering NAIA and playing NAIA college basketball for Robert Morris, because he used to schedule games with my old coach, Coach V, and Coach Al Brule, for the preseason, and just to show, to kick off the season, where Robert Morris was at, and because we played them, it made us one of the top NAIA teams in college basketball. And I used to love interviewing him. He was always a cool guy. Former Chicago Bull. They honored him at the game. So, man, he'll be truly missed, and he did so much with the Flying Illini, bringing in, a lot of the public league products to help produce one of the best runs in Final Four history.
I mean, one thing about Coach, I used to call him Coach Collins, Uncle Jimmy. He was a great person. He was a far better person than he was a coach. And that was a guy that was a mentor to so many of us that's in this coaching field right about now. He always took an opportunity to give me a word of encouragement. He used to come to Morgan Park when Nick and I coached over at Morgan Park. And he used to try to help us. And I remember when I was sick with cancer, like Coach Collins used to call me like every week or two just to check in on him. So I'm going to definitely miss him. Like you said, Joseph, he is the architect of the Flying Illini. He did a great job in recruiting guys like Marcus Liberty, Kendall Gill, Nick Anderson. They had a pipeline to the public league. So he'll definitely be missed. And shout out to Coach Collins and his family.
Yeah, I mean, my memories of Coach Collins was me being a student journalist at Chicago State, and we would play UIC a lot. Coach was the head coach over there at UIC after really stellar career as an assistant down at U of I. He came up, he took that program to the NCAA tournament 3 times. Coach Collins was a great guy to interview. He was a great guy to talk to on the record and off the record, and I know he really mentored a lot of his players. And one thing I know that really helped him was he used to be a parole agent, a parole officer. And it helped him to be able to relate to some of the young men he was recruiting who came from some of the rougher parts of town and who had perhaps gotten in some trouble at some point in their life. He kind of understood where they were coming from. And I think it's one of the reasons why he was such a great recruiter and a great mentor of young man. So he'll be truly missed. And again, our condolences to his family and all of his friends. So it's a big loss. So, but let's stay on this topic of U of I, and we're gonna bring in our first guest. I called him literally an hour ago, hey man, can you come do the show real quick? There's so much news going on down there. And he was like, yeah, man, let me know what time. And, I'm grateful for him making this switch at the last minute. So Joseph and I, we're going to do a quick interview with him. Lance, go grab you a sandwich and come back.
Here's some cookies back, Lance. No.
So Joseph, you and I, we're going to talk to our good guy. He writes for a whole bunch of publications down there in Central Illinois. And like I said, the first time he was on a few weeks ago, if there's anything you want to know about the University of Illinois sports, this is the guy to call because he knows all the sports, man. I'm going to mess with him one day. I'm going to ask him about their golf team and see if he know the answers. But our good guy, our good friend, Kedrick Prince. Kedrick, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Be careful because I do know about the golf team. And I do. And volleyball and track. I'm not kidding. I do. I'm on it, baby.
Love it. Love it.
Love it. Man, you have had a busy weekend, man. I know you were not expecting all of this stuff that happened. I know you were so geeked up for the Illinois-Mizzou game as always. So let's start there. Let's start with the Illinois-Missouri game. What was your take from that game? The Illinois did lose to their rivals from Missouri.
Well, I somehow managed to upset a lot of my followers or whatever you want to call it. I'm a little bit upset and disappointed with some of the players. This team was hyped up to be one of the best teams they've had in a long time. And what I saw was the Io show. I saw no one else step up. And I've heard a number of excuses. Io doesn't pass the ball enough. The kid is averaging 5.1 assists a game. The reason I think they struggle is because Trent Frazier has disappeared. Adam Miller is one of the best shooters and coming into that. He's one of the best shooters in the class of 2021. But I've not seen it. I saw it the first game, couple games, and he's diminished. If Illinois wants to be one of the top teams in college basketball, they have to score. You're not going to win with one guy. I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Michael Jordan first came into the league, everybody told him, Jordan, you can score all the points you want. You're not going to win with one guy. You need another guy. So then they added Scottie Pippen. You'll be competitive with Scottie Pippen, but you need that third guy, and they added Rodman. If you want to be competitive and you want to win a national title and be talked about with Michigan State, Gonzaga, and Iowa, Iowa's not going to be able to do it by himself. It was disappointing because I don't see other guys stepping up. Corbello, the other freshman, has been solid. But I hear people give me excuses, Iowa's shooting the ball and they're not getting shots. That is not true. They're just not making shots. And the bottom line is we can X and O's it all we want. They have to perform.
Kedrick, my question to you, do you think a Lanny should establish the ball in a low post first before they allow the perimeter guys to get off? Because one thing I noticed throughout the games, Coburn gets into early foul trouble, and he's immediately removed out of the game, and then it's like an open freeway for teams to drive down the lane and score easy. How can they better fix that?
Well, a lot of people think that they should run things through Kofi to begin with. And if you remember the Duke game, he scored the first 2 points of the game. And Coach Underwood is the type of guy, if you get 2 fouls early, he's going to sit you. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. I can't say who the coach was who told me this today because I have to be professional. But a coach called me today and says, Kedrick, let me ask you something. How has Kofi gotten better? All you see is a dunk. I don't see any post moves from him. I don't see anything where he has a go-to move. I've said that going into the preseason. But if you really think about it, to answer your question, it'd be great if they had a guy down low who could give them something other than a dunk, because it's not going to work. The 2 best post moves I've seen him do all season, first move against Duke, and he had one late in the second half against Jeremiah Tillman. You're not just going to be able to play at the next level that way. And if he wants to score points, he has to be able to give them something in the post where he's effective, and he has to improve his free throw shooting. 61% is not going to get it done.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
No, I heard actually he's shooting 58%, and that the team was at one point last year shooting 73%, but because he's shooting 58% from the field, that the team free throw percentage has dropped like 4%. To 69, 68% as a whole.
Well, to me, and he shot a little bit better last year, and I don't want to say he's in a slump. I just know what his aspirations are. His aspirations to play in the NBA. And 20 years ago, a guy like that would be a lottery pick. You have to show more than that today. You cover the Bulls, and, both of you guys have seen the NBA game. Mm-hmm. You really, really have to be able to have a go-to move and not just turn around and dunk over people. Those players are done anymore. I just don't see them around. And if they want to take the next step, one, they better be able to get a low post presence where he can score, make free throws, and their outside shooting has to improve. It's gotten better, but it's not been consistent enough, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Once again, you're being joined by Kedrick French. We're talking all things fighting the line now. We're going to move over to the gridiron, and big news on the football program. Lovie Smith, former Chicago Bears head coach, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach, and now former head coach at the University of Illinois, because they decided to let Lovie go. Kedrick, your thoughts on that? I know we had kind of talked about this throughout the season, but Lovie is no longer at U of I.
Boy, this is a tough one. I have so many mixed feelings on this one because he is a classy guy. He really is. And I think sometimes people don't understand how bad the program was before he got it. He did his job. The talent level is a lot better. I mean, it's when he got the job, I would go down there, I would sit on the field, and you could look at the size of kids at Wisconsin and Michigan State. It was like men playing boys. So he did that part. But I think Lovie is I don't want to say he's in over his head. I just think the game hasn't passed him by, but he's such a stubborn guy to where he doesn't want to make adjustments. Like for me personally, this is just me. The last 2 touchdowns the University of Illinois had, they came from the quarterback, a freshman, who was one of the top freshmen in the country. Top recruits in the country. But like Lovie Smith, when he was with the Bears, if he names a quarterback, he's staying with them. It doesn't matter how good or how bad he does. And I think that mentality in today's world is different. It doesn't resonate with kids anymore. It doesn't resonate with parents. So I think that part of the game he kind of struggled with. He wasn't able to recruit like they thought he was going to be able to. When he first got the job, that was national news. Every news channel, Fox, CNN, everybody had that on there because everybody loves Lovie Smith. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, guys, you have to win games. You have to win. And they're not competitive in all the games. You can't continue to pay these kind of salaries, and when you're drawing 20 and 30,000 people, it's just not going to work.
Yes, and said my question to you, I know that Illinois made it to the Red Box Bowl last season, and all I kept hearing out of the institution was that 2021 was going to be the year that all of Lovey's recruits are coming in. So with the firing that took place, and I know this is a result-oriented business, what does that mean for the institution long term? Are the recruits going to follow Lovey to where he's going? What's going to happen?
Well, some of the recruits, one of the things I did, I worked for Orange and Blue News, which is a Rivals.com network. Some of the recruits are second guessing, the thought of sticking around and staying with him. And to answer your question, this was supposed to be the year when he recruited all these kids as freshmen. He told everybody when they become seniors, they're going to be better. You can't blame COVID as an excuse, because I'm going to tell you why. Minnesota beat Nebraska last week, and they were missing 33 players. So there's no excuse to blame COVID. He had a senior-laden team, 25 seniors. So there's no reason that he shouldn't have been able to be more productive this year. I think if they hire the right guy, some of those recruits are going to stay. But I want to defend Lovey with this. I told fans on Twitter, Illinois has had 4 winning seasons in the last 20 years. That's it. So whoever they get, I don't think, unless it's Urban Meyer or somebody like that, it's not a successful job right now. You have to have somebody who's going to come in there who can recruit kids, because, Lovey, like I said to you earlier, he stacked it up a little bit and he got some talent, but long term, it's not, and people get mad when I say this, it's a basketball school right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Last question for our guest here, Kendrick Prince. Tough year, really, for Illinois sports down there at U of I. You lost the great Lou Henson earlier this year, and now you lose his main assistant that built that Flying Illini team, Jimmy Collins. Your thoughts on Jimmy Collins and what the reaction is like down there in the Champaign-Urbana area?
Not only those two, they lost Robert Archibald. I don't know if you remember him, but he passed away this year. It's been a rough year for them. But, I heard you guys talk earlier before I got on. Coach Collins was a classic guy, and he is the only reason the Flying Illini was ever invented, because he was the guy that got those kids to buy into Lou Henson. Lou Henson was a good guy because he was above all the racial tensions and those things. And Jimmy Collins proved to those kids that you could come in from Chicago and trust this guy, because Lou was a fair guy. But Jimmy was an honest guy. When the kids had a tough time with Lou, when they were struggling in school, Coach Collins was that dad-like figure for them. So it's sad, and I was really disappointed he never got a shot at the University of Illinois to coach. I think he deserved it with the whole Deion Thomas fiasco and his loyalty to the school. I really wish they would have gave him a shot at it.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Coach Collins is definitely going to be missed. It'll be interesting to see, how he's honored during these COVID times, man, because I know if this is regular time, that would be a memorial service that would definitely be packed. But, during these COVID times, we all got to be safe. So, Kendrick, thanks so much, man, for jumping on and talking to us about U of I. Like I said, I knew it was a busy 48 hours down there for you, and I know a lot of people in Chicago want to know. So I said, hey, let's get our guy on, see if we can get some information. But you continue to stay safe as the games are being played, for as long as they're being played. And keep doing the good work that you're doing. I appreciate you jumping on, brother.
Thanks, Joe and Joseph. Take care. Happy holidays.
God bless, brother.
All right. Joseph, thank you to you as well, man.
Thank you, guys. And Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you.
Keep on wearing them sweaters, man.
Hey, I like the t-shirt. What does that say?
You like my shirt? Thank you. It says, I love it when they boo.
Oh.
Because I'm a referee, this is our thing. So, when people like Coach Kelly be messing with me on the referee, the fans be booing down there in Reed Arena. This is what we be saying. We love it when y'all boo.
Hey Jay, I got something to tell you. I remember I was covering NAIA, and I said, okay, so how does the referees get paid? So in the beginning of the game, both of the ADs walked to the score table, and one of the referees was like, he looked at the guy. He looked at one check, looked at the guy. He was like, then he looked at the other check and looked at the guy. He was like, and I saw the difference in the game. I guess
you ain't gonna get away with that on my show, man. That ain't got nothing. That's what you playing in NAIA, man. I don't know what y'all doing down there. I was giving cash in the locker room.
No, I just say whoever pays the most, they get the call.
No, they don't, man. You don't be talking about our vocation. All right, man. Thank you for jumping on. I appreciate it.
All right, peace out, bro. God bless.
Love you. First commercial break, and coming up next, she is the associate head coach down there at Texas A&M University, Coach Kelly Bond Price. Coming up after this.
See me. See me.
See me. See my dark skin and my kinky hair.
See me. Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my tan skin and my curly hair.
See me.
Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my face, wet with tears from years of oppression.
See my hands, weathered and worn from decades of pulling myself up through your society.
See my feet, split from centuries of walking your delicate line.
See me.
See me.
See me.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
With coronavirus still spreading, people at higher risk must take extra precautions. You're at higher risk if you are over 65 or if you have any serious underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, diabetes, or if your immune system is compromised for any reason. If you're at higher risk, wash your hands frequently with soap and water for 20 seconds. Avoid touching your face. Disinfect frequently touched objects. And wash up after being in public spaces. And when it comes to social situations, less is better. Stay 6 feet or 2 arm lengths away from other people. Better still, stay home if you can. If you're sick, please stay home and away from others. And if you think you've been exposed to the virus, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. In challenging times, the choices you make are critical. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz? I'm Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach, Lance C. Irvin. So, Coach, our next guest coming on, man. This is your homegirl, man.
I mean, Jay, I went to show her some love, but I tried to put on my A&M jersey, and it was too big. So I mean, shut out. My girl, she know I love her to death. So, I can't wait to have Coach Kelly Bond White on. So we'll see. And y'all, hey Jay, you didn't tell me Pat Fitzgerald last week when we talked about him real quick was making $5 million a year.
I don't know the salary of all these coaches.
He makes $5 million.
I mean, well, here was my thing. Lovie Smith was the highest paid state employee in Illinois. A lot of people don't know that. But, people feeling so sad for Lovie. Lovie got $2 million, as part of his buyout. So, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to feel for people. If you're getting $2 million and they fire you, he's not gonna be hurt. But you know, it's never fun to be fired. I understand.
Exactly.
$2 million, man. I feel pretty good if you want to fire me for $2 million.
Hey, and if I was making about $4 million a year, $4 to $5 million a year, I mean, I'm gonna sleep a little bit easier.
There you go. Without a doubt. Well, our next guest coming on to the show, she is a native right here in Illinois. She played basketball down at the University of Illinois. She is now the associate head coach at Texas A&M University. She has been down there for 18 years, and she's going to talk to us about the importance of assistant coaches to a program. And Lance, you know, being a head coach, you're only as good as your assistant coaches are. And she is one of the best around. I don't know how long she's going to stay in that role. I got the feeling she's got a bright future the next year. But right now she's going to talk about it. And we're just so happy to have this sister on. Kelly Bond White is joining us from College Station. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
What's up, cuz?
What's up, cuz? There go my cousin. There go my little sister. I'm so happy to see you. You looking nice as ever. And Kelly, he's clowning me about my Christmas tree. I tell you what, I should have had you show your Christmas tree because you had your house decked out.
Oh, man. No, look, at least we don't have a Charlie Brown Christmas tree anymore. We came up a little bit.
You came up a lot of it. Kelly, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you coming on. My cousin Jason, he wouldn't stop bugging me, so that's why I was bugging you. He's like, we need to get Kelly on the show. So I have Kelly on the show, Jason, so you can check that off. So I'm just gonna let you run with it. And I hope you ask some great questions, because if you don't, Kelly gonna take your spot over if you don't.
I gotta ask some great questions because my wife is sitting 12 feet away and she's a graduate of A&M. So
okay.
So I got to be giggling like real good right about now. so Coach, let's just get right into it. You've been down there for 18 years. You all have got a heck of a team this year. My wife and I, we sat and watched the whole game against Texas. Y'all beat them. Oh, I'm supposed to do down.
Throw it down, yeah.
You all beat Texas the other day. She was excited. I was excited about that. But you've been down there for 18 years, and that's something you very rarely see in the coaching ranks. Talk to me a little bit about what you do, what your main responsibilities are down there in the program as the associate head coach.
You know, the plan was never to be down here 18 years. Coming from Chicago, I thought, you know what? I'll run down there, get some Texas connections, and, then head back to the Midwest and utilize those connections. But, as your wife can tell you, it's a special place. I grew up here. I was in my 20s when I got down here. The people are very welcoming. And then my head coach is a heck of a recruiter. So they planted this guy that became my husband, and he's from Houston. So, they did a good job in recruiting to make sure I had something to tie me down here. But just in terms of my role, as any assistant will tell you, besides their number one role is to develop young men and women. And that's my number one role. That's the thing that I hang my hat on, is that I feel like we do a really good job of the young ladies that walk into our program and young men with our practice players and managers of making them better. Then the next role is definitely to be an extension of your head coach and put your head coach in the best light. While you're developing your philosophies, and some may differ, your role is still to put your head coach in the best light, be it X's and O's, be it the players that you're bringing into the program. So that's what, it's not rocket science, but it's just something that we're educators, and I've never lost sight of that. And I've had mentors like Lance that checked me right off the beginning, and he'll tell you about that when I was in practice on my cell phone recruiting, and he came over and checked me real quick.
Oh, yeah, I want to hear this story. Come on, Lance.
Some stories are better left untold. So I'm leaving that story alone. No. I'm leaving that story alone. I just said this, all I'm going to say. You know what? You're a head coach in training. And I said, you don't never want anybody to think that you're here just to sign players. Because when I looked at her early on, I knew that she could coach because I used to come to their practice. And I just didn't want an AD coming in the gym saying, no, she's just a recruiter, like they try to label most African Americans when you coach. No, Kelly is a great coach, and she's a good person. So I was a little bit older, and she just happened to listen a little bit. But I was just like, I'm not saying nothing else. I was just like, let me highlight you for a hot second. That's all I said. But, I'm not telling those stories, Kelly. But anyway, when you talk about educating your student athletes, right? And one of the biggest issues that we had during this year was the social justice issues. when it came up with your young ladies how to tackle the social justice issues, what advice did you give them?
I spoke from the heart when I was down at U of I, and they just stole a great professor from us, Dr. Reuben Mays, in the sociology department. He just left A&M to go down to Champaign. And I'm a sociologist at heart. That was my background. And one of the things that I told our young ladies is what I've always told them: never let anybody silence you. Never let anybody take your voice. It might come at a cost. Speaking your mind might come at a cost, but never let anybody silence you. And that's the most important thing that I wanted to push for our young ladies, is that they felt like their voices were heard. And then once we said, okay, you got your voice out there, now are you just going to talk, or are you going to be about it? So then they got together and developed a call of action, a plan of action, from every little things that they could influence, that they could control. Like, you know what, we're spending all this money feeding us. How many Black vendors are we using, Coach? When we're getting all this gear made, are there any Black vendors that can, supplement what Adidas is doing for us when we're just getting stuff monogrammed and this, that, and the other? So they came up with a whole list that have changed the way we played at DePaul. And we reached out to a chef, a caterer there in Chicago, and they wanted to make sure that money went into the neighborhoods, money went to minorities. And that was all our kids planning. Our seniors sat down, we have a leadership council, and they sat down and picked about 5 or 6 areas where they felt like they could make an impact financially in the community, and by being a voice and being heard.
Wow, that's really good. That's really good, Coach. And I can tell you, like I say, my wife, when she graduated down there, one of the things when we were watching the game, she was looking, she like, man, we got a lot of Black players now down there. We didn't have all that. And we saw the volleyball team. I was like, oh, man. She's like, this is definitely different. So good to see a lot of the changes that you all are making down there at A&M. I guess my question is, I know a lot of times that, the head coach basically does a lot of strategy, but I know a lot of the player development and all those type of things happen with the assistant coaches. When you first get a recruit that comes in there in their freshman year and you're assessing where they are and where you want them to be, what are some of the things that you're looking for, and how do you help them improve from that freshman year to that sophomore year and then keep going forward?
The number one thing we look for is their ability to create. Can they create for themselves? Can they create for others? And can they stretch the defense? So those are 3 points that we really look for. And then as much time as we spend on the court, we spend in the film room and teaching them how to watch the game, how to break down the game, because that's where I think players really grow. And we have 2 young kids from Chicago right now that are freshmen that are finding their way. And that's the most important thing. You can tell them, like, God, I can hit that shot, I can do this, but do you understand the spacing? Do you understand the why behind? And that has changed. When I played, it was cut right there because I told you to cut right there. Now kids want it. What's the why behind that? And they need that. They want to understand why you're doing what you're doing, as well as their role on the team, and constantly explaining that and that. Yeah, it's fluid. They can change their role, but just making sure they have an understanding of what we're trying to accomplish as a whole.
One thing, Coach, is that you were a good point guard when you was in high school and college. And I think of Texas A&M as like point guard you. Started with Aqua, my girl Sydney Colson. Y'all had Miss Carter there. I called her Miss Carter last year. So talk to me about how you guys try to help the point guards grow in your program. Because like I said, when you play at Texas A&M, you're going to play some pressure defense, and you're going to play against that other point guard. She's going to be very good.
Yeah. Speaking of what you mentioned, Miss Carter, we actually brought her back. She's back on staff this year, and it's really important to have that connection of player, somebody that actually played in the system, to relate to the young players. And at that position, you're an extension of the coach. And so it's not fair all the time. Everyone that has come through here at that position, they've been put through the fire, and not the adversity of our opponents. They've been put through the fire by us, because they have to grow immediately, because we're giving them the ball and saying, run with it. You're an extension of us on that court. And so they go through the fire a little bit. There's always tears shed. There's always, oh man, can I go play the 2? They look like they having a ball over there. But just making them really learn and understand the game. And I think it works, because when you look at all of them, every last point guard that has come through here, they're either still playing or they're coaching. So a lot of them didn't have those aspirations when they sat here, but all of them, they learned the game so well that they want to give back to the next. And I think that's a testament to our head coach as well as our staff, just in terms of teaching them the game. But it's not always easy, Lance. You know that. I call you all the time for advice, with our players and what we're doing with them. But it's just a growing process, especially at that position.
So before I get put out my house, Paul was like, tell my sister, tell my dolphin, I said hello. Hey, Jason, Kelly can't find me. She'll call Paul, and Paul was like, look, you better call Kelly back.
That's right.
I just had to say that. Bricky told me to tell you hello, so
that's my baby.
I'm not trying to get put out my house. But Kelly, when you work for a coach, the coach has to be confident enough to let you do what you do. And one game I saw where you actually picked up the board and you drew up a play. Talk to me about what got in your head to draw up that play, because Gary has to have confidence in you to let you do that.
He does. Well, I work for a Hall of Famer. So, he's proven everything. He's won national championships. He's in multiple Hall of Fame. So he doesn't have the ego that some of us have, all the time. And the first time I grabbed that clipboard at Duke, I probably had lost my mind there. But I'll be honest, if you watch closely enough, you'll see those veteran point guards grab that clipboard too. And that's when I know I've done my job, because they're the ones that's on the floor and they see it. I don't care what we do. Our time has passed. We're on the sideline for a reason. So when I don't have to grab it and he doesn't have to grab it, but the players take ownership and they say, nah, coach, here's what I see. That's when I can sit back and grab my water like, that's why we brought you here.
Oh, that's right. I know that's right. Once again, we're being joined by Texas A&M Associate Head Coach of the women's basketball program, Chicago native and Whitney Young grad, Coach Kelly. Right. Coach, you played for a great high school coach here in Arthur Penny.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about playing for a legendary coach like Arthur Penny, and then how that transitioned and helped you throughout your career where you are now.
He's the reason I'm sitting here today. When John Thompson just passed, I posted something because it just reminded me he was cut from that cloth. Mm-hmm. I was a knucklehead back in the day, and he invested in me to a point where he lived on the southwest side, and I lived as far in the water southeast as you could possibly get over on South Shore Drive. And he would take me home almost every day. And it wasn't about just taking me home from Whitney Young. It was about trying to get through my rock head to make sure I understood what was out there. And at the time, I didn't want to hear it. I just wanted to have fun and do some things. But he not only invested in me, I found out he invested in all of us like that. You thought it was just you, but the Natasha Pointers over there, the Shimona Fields, that's now Shimona McDaniel, he passed down a legacy, and he created that sorority for us where people are always like, your college teammates are the ones you're going to spend the rest of your life with. No, Paul is right. My Dolphin sisters are still the ones. Because that's what he created. He created that bond that we've had for a lifetime. And so playing for him is the only reason I'm sitting right here. I love the X's and O's. I love the recruiting. But as my mom told me, you can change more lives on the basketball court than you can in social work, Kelly. Forget social work for right now. Go ahead and go help those kids with a ball in your hand.
Yeah, your mom ain't lying. She like, plus that coaching in Texas A&M pay better than these social workers. They don't want to pay social workers nothing.
Oh man.
But coach, let me ask you this important question, because you love basketball and you understand the game. So I have a real tough question for you.
Okay.
MJ and Scottie Pippen, or Kobe and Shaq?
Come on now.
I just want to hear what you're gonna say. I don't know.
You already know who my favorite player of all time is. I rocked 33 in college. So come on, my dog's name was Pippen. My other dog is MJ. What do you think I'm going to say? Now, I can respect what Kobe and Shaq did, and it's a dynamic duo. But for me, I'm Chicago through and through. And Scottie was the most versatile. He could check you 1 through 4. Might have switched off on Vlade in that position in that series one time. So I'm going to say 1 through 5. He could rock with you 1 through 5, but the GOAT is the GOAT. And I'll never have another. I'll never have another duo that does it for me like they did, because that was my prime. That's when I was coming up. That's what I could sneak into the stadium under supposed to be working for Andy Frame, but get to the stadium.
Now that's some Chicago stuff, Coach. Like, wear this uniform here. Yeah, I'm working in Section C Okay, that's fine. I ain't mad at you, Coach. That's what it takes. See the great was that what it takes. Let me talk to you a little bit about how we're seeing that cultural shift in the college ranks in terms of women getting more opportunities, not just on the NCAA level, but also we're starting to see female coaches on the NBA level. We're starting to see females in the NBA executive level, like Swin Cash is doing. Talk to me a little bit about this shift we've seen in the past couple of years and how you see it playing out here in the future and in the next 5 years.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If you're watching what the SEC is doing, we talked about diversity. The SEC is at the forefront of that. And I'm proud of my sisters. I sit on those SEC head coaches calls in the back, just getting knowledge and just learning from them. But as you said, there's a cross section that, we are moving into other arenas, and I applaud that as well. For me, I've had people call and ask me about, would you ever be interested in the NBA or doing some things like that on the men's side? And I'll never say no, because you never know where life is going to take you. But I truly believe my calling is helping, young women. And so I love that we're getting more and more opportunities. I do think women like Dawn Staley, women like Muffet McGraw, that are, constantly just speaking and really putting their foot on people's necks to say, no, hear us now. We're here now, and things need to change. And I think when you see it continue to change on the political side, then it'll continue shifting down to athletics, because we're just a microcosm of what's going on, outside the country. So everything you're seeing happening in Georgia, right now, and that whole movement that's going on, I think is going to continue to make its way into athletics. And what that means is for the young women that I'm coaching now, they'll have greater opportunities than we've had.
You know what? I always thought that you could coach in men, and I thought you would be a really good coach. If I could afford you and Corey Irvin, I'd hire both of you all, because you are that good. And I love what the SEC is doing, right, Coach? I mean, like you said, they have 5 or 6, 7 head coaches in the SEC, and it's tough for us to get jobs. So talk to me about what you think you need to do to get your head job, or if you're ready to get a head job.
Yeah, you know what, Lance, we've talked about this. I think one of the things, especially with and I'll generalize, sometimes with women, we're not self-promoters. We're focused on our craft. We're focused on our young ladies. And a lot of times outside of that, you see all this self-promotion, and that's not who I am. Now, it doesn't mean that, does that mean you're just comfortable, in this role? No, but I need people. Yes, I can hire people to sell me and put my name out there. But, I sat with Greg Marshall one time, and Greg said, I know your resume. I've been in practice. I've watched you, and you're coming in here asking for that. No, you should think of yourself like they should be grateful to have you. And, and that's it. But we operate sometimes under a different mindset. And so for me, I feel like God has ordered my steps this far. There is a reason he has had me at Texas A&M for 18 years, and I've never questioned that. When I felt like it's my time and I've gone out looking for things, it's not comfortable. It doesn't feel natural. And so I know when God is ready to move me in whatever situation he puts me in, that's where I'm meant to be. And it doesn't, at this point in my career, it doesn't matter. I feel like I can make an impact from wherever I am. You talk about the table shifting. I've always felt like that. It's just a matter of title.
So, Coach Kelly, let me ask you, as an 18-year assistant coach, how has recruiting changed from when you first started to where it is now?
I think like Lance said in that story, before we'd be on that phone, and you're constantly on the phone and you're walking around just trying to, talk and get to the circle as many as you can. I think what's really changed is the access that you have to kids 24/7 with social media. And now with the portal, surprisingly, we signed a top 15 recruiting class after COVID hit, which then makes you wonder, okay, do we have to be on the road 90 million, times a day? I think now when you see the people streaming games and you're getting there, nothing takes the place of being there live, but connecting with kids. I think with the changes, you're going to see more and more people committing earlier. They want to know that they have a place in your program, because, when is the 16th? 2 days from now, the NCAA could say, okay, y'all can all transfer wherever you want to go, Wild Wild West. and everybody's moving around, I think people are looking to find, where do I fit? How do I fit in all of this? And then they're saying, you know what? All your seniors can come back a year. Okay, well, my roster is going, I'm gonna have 20 people on my roster next year. How? So I think all of that impacts recruiting. And I think the people that are more ready to pivot and shift and adjust and adapt, those are the people that you see are going to continue to be successful.
You know what, Kelly, like Jason asked you, that's a great question. But one thing I think about, it's an arms race out here, schools that have and have not.
Definitely.
What's something interesting that you all have at Texas A&M that the average school might not have? Because, you know, some of us don't have a barber chair in our locker room. Some of us don't have a little extra. So is there anything that you all have? Because it's an arms race, seriously, though.
I can answer that question. They got a football stadium that's sitting like 1 million people. That's the difference.
There you have it. Look, I am Jimbo's biggest fan. Come on, Jimbo. Jimbo. What can I do for you, Jimbo? Because that's what, I mean, football drives the machine. Before Jimbo, Kevin Sumlin did a great job. Before him, Fran. I mean, I'm football's biggest fan. I understand the hierarchy of it all. Buzz coming in now, you know, doing some things on the next rung. That always helps us. So to answer that question, I'm going to answer it like Jason had. We got Kyle Field. We got the 12th Man Foundation that in all seriousness, we haven't felt a lot of effects. You've seen a lot of programs have to furlough, you know, people. And it's heartbreaking that. But for us, because of our foundation, we've been okay. We've had to tighten our purse strings, but we've been okay. And we haven't lost that many people.
You know what, Kelly, real quick, I have everybody in my family watching you. Nick just hit me with a text. So Nick told me to ask you, what's your favorite pair of Jordans? Because he understands that you like Jordans. So what's your favorite pair of Jordans?
Let me go in the closet.
What's your favorite?
I'm old school, so you know I'm one. The OGs, the Chicago OGs. I just saw my guy. My plug just hit me and said they were about to be released again. You know, that dates back to Providence. I got plugs in Harlem and everything now to take care of me on the kicks. But that OG one, Chicago would be my favorite. You know, we got to keep the 11s, but I've kind of toned it down a little bit with the J's. I got them in the closet. I break them out every now and then because, you know, Von Miller and Adidas pays me. But those are my favorites. The 1s and the 11s are probably my favorites.
Hey Jay, Kelly coming to practice, her gym shoe game was so tight. I look at her shoes and I look at mine. I'm like, oh no, I need to step my game up because Kelly's trying to show me off up in this place.
Hey, look, we were just trying to build something and win, and it was about presentation early on. So I felt like if we could look the part, we'll eventually get there.
Yeah, well, you are really built just an outstanding program. I just think of all the wonderful players who have come out just even in the recent years. You know, our girl Sydney Colson, she plays for the Chicago Sky up here. We keep trying to get Sydney on the show. Can you please call Sydney?
Look, y'all ain't tried too hard because you ain't called me.
Oh, yeah, man, see what I gotta do, man. We gotta get Sydney. Sydney is funny. And Sydney just says she wants to become a stand-up comedian. So, you know, she needs the platform. I'd love to get Sydney on our
the platform.
Kelly, he kept saying he was going to get her. I said, okay, cool. I'm leaving it alone then.
Look, all those kids are coming down for the 10th anniversary of our national championship. So they've been all together, you know, organizing everything, coming together. But y'all need her on the show. Just make sure you got enough time to block. That child is special. She is touched.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Well, I got 1 minute left, Coach, but I can't let you go without just real quick. Describe to us the associate head coach title, because this is something that's kind of new in college. It's come out maybe the past 5 or 6 years. It's not quite a head coach, but it's a little bit different between the assistant coach. Just what's kind of the major difference? I had actually a lot of people ask me that question. I said, I got someone who's in that title coming on my show. I'm going to ask her.
I'm going to tell you something. My daughter goes to Taekwondo, and I love the class. She goes to 2 of them. One, they just fight, play. And then the other one, he really teaches her about discipline. And when she got her orange belt, one of the things that he told her was, you answer up like a black belt, but you always train like a white belt, meaning, you know, keep that hunger of wanting to get better. And that associate head coach is a title. Down here for me, it was a title because of where when we were in the Big 12, the Big 12 was paying a lot of money, and they had capped me out at assistant coach. So they had to change my title in order to give me a raise. But what I tell young coaches, be it recruiting coordinator, be it associate head coach, be it head coach, you better still act like you in the trenches. It better, anybody, Nick asked me about shoes. My favorite artist is Jay-Z. And when he hits you with, I treat my last like my first, and my thirst is the same as when I came. I think you got to keep that. You got to have that perspective. You got to have that attitude. And what I tell young coaches, it's just a title. It's just a title. If I'm not sweeping floors, if I'm not mopping floors, if I'm not picking up water, then it means nothing. But all it means is that my coach trusts me and relies on me to do a lot of stuff that he don't want to do anymore.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Coach Kelly, my wife from Texas A&M. Giggle Maggie's, go get him, baby.
Tell Lauren and family we say hello, Coach.
Will do. See y'all. Appreciate you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
We're going to take our second commercial break. And coming up next, we've got the Great Eight. He's back in the green room. He's going to come on. We got some pictures to share with y'all. And woo, Lord have mercy, we got some stories we're going to be talking about next second. Coming up next, Antoine Walker. Stay tuned. You're watching What's Up, Cuz.
Hey y'all, this is the grandfather, Tony Allen. Listen up, it's time to be first team all defense against the coronavirus. Here's a few tips. You gotta lay low, stay at home as much as possible, and please stay away from the crowds and gatherings. The more social distance from others, better for all. Even if you don't feel sick, stop the spread and play lockdown defense. Enjoy all that good Memphis restaurant food you want, but please make it takeout or delivery. If you feel sick, do not go to work or the store. And yes, I know you hear this a lot, but wash your hands. We're going to get through this, but we've got to work together like a team to make it happen. For more information on the coronavirus, go www.cdc.gov. And remember, first team all defense.
Welcome back to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach, Lanny Irvin. How'd you like that last interview segment, Coach?
It was great. She's well-spoken, she's articulate, and she's a good person, and she knows what she's talking about, and she understands how to help the student athlete. So anytime somebody's giving us knowledge like that, I'm having a great time. I mean, heck, when I see you laughing and joking, I know you having a great time.
Hey, man, you know I love this, man. I love bringing so many people that's come out of our city who have gone on and doing great things, and I know they can really inspire a lot of people. And a lot of times it's just getting them to connect back directly to our community, which is why we created this platform of What's Up, Cuz. And we always thank Sean Sierra and Maya Kai for bringing us here on SportsZone Chicago and doing this in conjunction with Chicago Crusader Newspaper, because I think it's really important what they say to the people who watch our show. We have a lot of people who are really watching our show. So, to hear these stories of people, and they talk about some of the mistakes they made, some of the successes they've had, it's really a good connection with people. So, I just thank you for helping me do this. And you're a big part of bringing this next guest we got coming on, because let's face it, man, this dude is family. I could give a big long introduction, but what's the point? He family for us. He related to us. So I'll just say he played his high school ball in Mount Carmel, which we got to talk about because I got St. Rita people mad at me. He played his high school ball in Mount Carmel. He won an NCAA championship down in Kentucky. He then played in the NBA, was a multiple All-Star, got an NBA championship ring with the Heat. And now he's here with us on What's Up, Cuz. Our good buddy, great number 8, Antoine Walker.
What's up, thanks for having me on, fella.
What's up, Twan? It's always great to see you, babe. Woo!
Man, thanks for having me on. Can you guys hear me? It was a lot of static and I was listening to you guys. I sound clear? I'm good?
Yeah, you're real good.
You're good, baby. We can hear you perfectly.
Man, we appreciate you having on, Twan. And one thing I loved about you is that when you made it to the NBA, you always gave back to the community. You was always around. Mm-hmm. You were playing. You were doing different type things. You was feeding the homeless and doing different type things. Talk to me about what you wanted to do when you made it to the NBA in terms of giving back.
I mean, really, to be honest with you, it was just more for me. It was about what I was taught and how I was brought up, and Lance kind of go from how your father was a big influence in my life, and seeing how he treated all the young athletes, and that we always wanted to get in the famous basement where all the shoes was at. We always wanted to get down into that basement because we knew that's where that product was at. So, it was just something that was instilled in me, man. From just my mom was a single parent mom who raised 6 of us by herself. I watched her struggle and try to take care of us, and when I came across people that were kind of going through some of the same similar situations that I have, I just understood, and I felt like I was always blessed to be able to make a lot of money to play the game I love to play. So I felt like it was, kind of like my duty to give back. I think it was just something that was embedded in me from the people that was around me, and I just kind of picked out from them. So I would just say from family, and like I said, from people like Mr. Irvin that taught me that you gotta help the next person in line too, because it was somebody that helped me get where I need to get to.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate that. And Twan, my cousin Jason, was like, "We got to get Twan on. We got to get Twan on." I said, "Twan to be on." I said, "Twan, you understand the game of basketball also. So what's your take on the Chicago Bulls this year?" Like we had a bold question. I think they won superstar away from being pretty good. I like marketing. I like Zach. I think they have a couple of pieces, but I think they need a little bit more. What's your thoughts on the Chicago Bulls?
Well, I like Billy. I like Billy Donovan. I think he'll be good. And the reason why I like Billy is that Billy's coached superstars. He's coached top 5 guys in the league: Kevin Durant, Westbrook, Paul George. So he's coached superstars. He's went through his trials and tribulations as a coach. So I'm sure he's learned a lot over the last 5 or 6 years. But the Bulls team, I think, for whatever reason, and we all love Chicago. We know Chicago's a great city, but it's not a free agent destination spot. It's not like this is not the place where a lot of big-time free agents want to come play. So you got to do it from within. You got to draft well. You got to have good player development guys. And if I was the Bulls and I was running the team, I would figure out a way, how can I get in the playoffs first? I mean, we all want a championship caliber team. We all want to be able to play for that, but you got to get back to being a playoff team. And they're very close to being able to do that with the personnel that they got. I think like Zach LaVine is an all-star in this league. Anytime you can get 23, 24 points a night, you can play in this league. So I think he's there. I do like Larry Markkinen. Cody White seems like to be a great pickup. And out of the 2 preseason games I've seen, it looks like Patrick Williams is a player. So now you're headed in the right direction. So I just think they're still going to – I don't think they make it this year. I think they make vast improvements. I think they become more competitive than they were last year. And they'll start to turn the corner. But it's unfortunate, and I don't know. I don't have the answers to it. But no big-time free agent wants to come to Chicago. And it's mind-boggling.
Exactly like when you said it, I was sitting here like, is he serious? Like, we all think Chicago, and part of it is that because we from here, then you think Michael Jordan. But how come it's not a destination spot, huh?
I'm trying to figure. I mean, with the marketing, with being one of the biggest cities in the league, and it's a basketball city. Well, Chicago's a sports town completely.
Mm-hmm.
So you got, so this is a great place to play basketball. It's actually surprising that we can't get one. So you got to continue to draft well, or you got to give up some of those later picks and like 22, 23, 24, and you got to catch a guy. You see these guys like James Harden once out of Houston, Westbrook at that time. You got to put your name in the hat for some of those guys, because you're not going to get them naturally. They're not going to sign as a free agent, so you may have to go after them in another way, and you got to maybe mortgage your future a little bit. The Bulls are young enough; they don't need any draft picks anymore for a while, so you can kind of maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Antoine there for a second? Oh, I think he muted himself. Did you mute yourself, Antoine?
I'm here.
There you go.
There you go.
No. Okay, yeah. So I think you gotta you may mortgage. You know what I'm saying? If you mortgage your future a little bit, you may put you in a position where you can do something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree, Twan. I mean, it's always been one of the things we couldn't understand. I mean, Chicago, not only could you come here and make a good amount of money, but you can get endorsements here. The fans here are going to love you. We got women, we got, a party scene, we got great food, we got everything. It's just been one of those mysteries. Talk about the current state of
You're not
NBA.
coming in clear.
Oh, I'm not coming in clear?
Can you hear me, Twan? Can you hear us now? Can you hear?
Yeah, it's real staticky now.
It's real static.
There it goes. It's clear now.
It's good now. Okay, I wanted to ask you the current state of the NBA. How do you see that the game is different from when you played it?
Can you repeat that one more time? I didn't get the last part.
How's the game different now than from when you played it?
How's the league different now from when I played? Yeah. Whoa, that's a loaded question right there. Obviously,
answer like you only know how to.
Well, I think the league is much softer than when we played. The physicality of the league is totally different. It was much harder to score and to be, to do certain things on the court, where now it's a little bit more of a free-flowing league. Obviously, the biggest thing is three-point shooting. I mean, when I played, I used to get criticized for shooting so many threes. Now you got teams shooting 50 and 60 threes a game. So that's where the game has changed. That the one thing for the positive, I mean, obviously we see the huge contracts. Players are making much more money, which is great. Guys have worked really hard to get it to this level where guys are making this kind of money. So that's always exciting to see that guys are getting that. The only problem with that is that you got a lot of guys that are getting paid on potential. And, when you're 18, I would say when you're 22, 23, and you get a max deal for over $100 million, it kind of some guys don't work as hard. After they get that kind of money. So you have those type of problems that come in play. But I think the league is in a great place. I would say the one thing that I don't like that really bothers me is the lack of competitiveness by the superstars in this league. Everybody wants to team up and join up together. And when I played, it was all about competing against those guys and trying to beat the best. And with this group, it seems like with these young stars that we got now in the league, they don't want to compete against each other, for whatever reason. They want to join and hang out and do all these type of things. And that bothers me a lot. I look at, just look at the James Harden situation. Out of all the teams he picks Brooklyn. Come on, what I mean? Like, it's a different. Okay, if you do one out of Houston, and then why do you want out of Houston when they've done everything and paid you max money, done everything in their power to put a superstar around you, and you haven't delivered there? So why would I mortgage my future and give up all my assets for a guy who maybe can't get me over the hump? It's no guarantee. So I just think these guys are totally different. It's no guarantee. So these guys are different. It's disheartening because as a competitor and guy that played in the league, you like to see guys go at it, but they don't want to. These guys want to join forces, and everybody wants to listen. It's only a few teams that's championship contenders. and people don't understand it. It's probably 4 teams this year, and
Before you go ahead,
everybody's like, "Oh, league is this." No, it's probably 4 teams that can win a championship this year. Let's be honest. You got Lakers, Brooklyn, probably Milwaukee, and I may give you. I can't think of another team out west that I like to make a run for a championship. And
maybe
I'm not saying they're not good teams and they're going to have competitive seasons, but when you talk about winning a championship, I just don't. I don't have another team that I solidly. So the league is back where it started at to me 4 or 5 years ago when we were watching Golden State and Cleveland in the finals, and we knew they were going to be in the finals, and we all just waited to the end of the year and knew it was going to be those 2 teams. So that's the imbalance that we got in the league right now with these stars. I wish they would be more competitive, but the good thing about it, it's in a good place. Adam Silver's done a terrific job. The players have done a good job of making it very profitable on both ends, and giving us a lot of entertainment. But I wish it was a little bit more competitive.
Once again, we're being joined by the great 8, Antoine Walker. Lance, you got a question for our cousin?
Hey, Twan, I got it. I got a serious question for you. Our super producer, Maya, was kind of like trying to. She was kind of not hating on Mark Carmel. She was hating on Mark Carmel. So, Twan, she normally jump out of everywhere. I like this. I like that. So I'm waiting for her to jump out and talk that talk. And she's like the Carmelites, But she did say I like Antoine Walker. But with that being said, she's texting me, what about the Jazz? What about the Nuggets? What about this guy? Trying to let us know that she knows the game. But she'll be out here in a minute, Twine. She might talk crazy. Oh, whoa. We can't hear you. Talk up.
Okay.
I can hear you. Talk up.
Oh, you know what? You always have to start stuff. You can't just let it sit where it is. Okay,
Look,
no.
My little brother's out here. Speak up so he can hear you.
Okay, so what I said was, did he freeze on us? No? There he is.
No, he listening.
Let me be clear about this. What I said what about Carmel is, I said I'm not a fan of Carmelites because I'm from the Franciscans and Joliet Catholic merged with my sister school, and it was the worst merger ever. So I'm just saying they came in and thought they run everything. Mark Carmel's kind of like that too. Sean would agree with me, by the way. But in your conversation about the West, don't you think the West is still stacked in regards to having to get to the finals? I mean, because you still have teams like, you still have the Jazz, the Nuggets, the Blazers. So even though the Lakers still might be the top tier team, don't you think it's still a more difficult battle for them to have to get to the finals opposed to right now the East is still really soft? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Did he freeze?
Maybe.
It's just a little bit of a delay, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that to a certain degree. I do believe it's a harder route. No, I do believe that it's a harder route for the Lakers because I do believe teams have gotten better. But if you really think about it, the Clippers got upset, so we didn't get the chance to see that matchup. Denver's not there yet. Don't get me wrong. I think Denver was competitive games, but it only went 5. It's kind of like, you see these great games and then they're like gentlemen sweep. They only go 5. So other teams really are. They're good enough to compete, through a game, but to win. I just think LeBron gets his head and shoulders, better than any other player in the league. He's got AD playing at a very, very high level. He gets his others to play really, really well. And that's the difference with LeBron James. He does a great job of making his teammates a big part of what he's doing. And that's where he separates himself. I don't know whether he's a great off-the-court guy, whether he takes everybody to dinner. I don't know what he does, but he does a terrific job of getting his guys to buy into winning the championship because his others play great. If it wasn't for Dwight Howard, Rondo, and KCP3, he wouldn't have won the championship this year. The guys played great. And he'll do that again this year. He'll get a couple of those guys to play out their mind and help him get over hump. So I still believe that it'll be competitive. He will get some teams that'll take him there. It's like we thought Portland was going to be a tough match up for him in the first round. He beats them. So it's tough to say teams can beat them in the 7-game series.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this question because now.
And hold on, let me add this too now.
Maya, where you go? Come on back, Maya.
Okay, I'm back.
Go ahead. Okay.
Man, go ahead.
No, he
I
said
ain't gonna
Mount
mess
Carmel.
with it. I'm gonna give it a break.
No,
Not,
mess with it.
I
Mess
can't.
with it. Go ahead,
I'll
Twan.
give
Mess
it a
with it.
break.
You ain't mess with it.
I
Go ahead,
came
Twan.
back.
She
I
came
mean,
back. Go
I
ahead,
can't.
Twan. Let her have it.
Look, it's not my school. I went to St. Francis Academy, so no matter what you say about Joliet Catholic, I don't care because I hate them too. I
Listen,
mean, so
listen.
what?
Look at y'all trying to mess with y'all. We ain't getting
Go
into
ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
All right, I'm out.
Go ahead, Jason.
Twan, let me ask you this. Now that your career is over.
Listen. It's nothing wrong. It's not.
We're talking now. Your name has come up in Hall of Fame conversations. Is that something that you think about?
Repeat that, because you didn't repeat that question.
My question is, your name comes up a lot in Hall of Fame conversations. Is
Repeat
that
that
something?
question, Jason.
You got it, cuz. Can you hear us,
About
Twan?
me making the Hall of Fame?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hall of Fame is always tricky. Yeah. Hall of Fame is always tricky. For me individually, personally, I probably won't make it. I think, unfortunately, they make you have to leave the game a certain way, and I don't think I left the game the way they may want me to leave. But do I think I should be there numbers wise? Yeah. I mean, it's only a select few of us that have won an NCAA championship and the NBA championship, and my numbers go up against anybody. Career numbers go up against in the league. They stand right in the middle of what anybody else has done in the league. So I do believe that. But do I think I'll make the Hall of Fame? No. I just think for myself, guys like Tim Hardaway. I think about McGuire. If Mark McGuire is not in the Hall of Fame, I know I'm gonna have a hard time getting in there. I mean, it's like it's certain people that should automatically be in there, and they're not there. So I mean, it'll be a great accomplishment. But I don't feel like I'm in the University of Kentucky Hall of Fame. I'm in the Chicago Hall of Fame. I'm in Carmel. So every step of the way, I've been had some individual accolades. So I'm happy with that.
Okay. Let me ask you just a quick follow-up to that, Antoine, because you've been very open about some of the challenges you faced after you left the game. You talked about some of the financial challenges you faced. You talked about personal decisions you made in your life. When you spoke at Uncle Mac's funeral, I really remember you in your speech talking about how you had to overcome some of the mistakes you made. Do you think all of that is also being encompassed when they talk about you and the Hall of Fame? And personally, I thought the way you've handled the things that you've gone through off the court, just absolutely fantastically. I needed to say that to you as well.
I think so. I think it's my personal financial situation has nothing to do with my basketball ability and what I did on the court. But we're so social media, internet driven. When we don't, when the negative sometimes outweigh the positive, and people seems to dwell on some of the negative things you went through, it makes. I don't think that's totally everything, but I do think it does play a part. I do agree with you on that. But I've been able to, over the last 5 or 6 years, by being able to have a platform to be able to share my story and tell the trials and tribulations have helped me, and I think it's helped the naysayers understand what I went through. Some guys go through. A lot of guys just are not more forthright up in talking about it, but it's unfortunate that we get judged on that. Get judged just on our basketball, and that's what it's. When you think about Basketball Hall of Fame, you wish it was just judged on that. But I do think everything plays a part. They if their eyes is not a lot of positive, I think that's what ends up happening.
You Twan, you had a great career on the court, and everybody learns from the situations that God has dealt with them. What have you learned from some of your situations that you had?
I like a lot. I mean, obviously, I think you got to live and learn. But being young, going pro at 19, becoming a millionaire at such a very young age, and not really understanding money is always was a problem. You know, when you never had money and then you come across it, I was thinking is learning taxes. You know, just understanding that $1 million is not $1 million. That probably was
Mm-hmm.
the first thing that you had to really learn when you make it. And then I think the biggest thing, to be honest with you guys, is generational wealth. We don't think about generational wealth when you come into the league at 18, 19 years old. You're not thinking about 35 and 40. You're not
Mm-hmm.
thinking about that. You're thinking about playing ball and getting all of the nice and materialistic things that you never had before. And you know, at that time when you first come to the league, you need to be thinking of something well because you don't know when the end's going to come because you got a short window. Everybody's not lucky to play, 20 years in the league. I played 13, was blessed to play that, but a lot of guys don't get opportunities to play longest of time. So you got a very short window to make the kind of money that we make, and you got to make sure you preserve it. And that's the one thing is creating generational wealth. And what I try to share with a lot of young guys is to think about 35 years old and 40 years old when they're done playing. And once you start to get that into your head, you understand that because honestly, you make enough money for your kids and their kids,
Mm-hmm.
and you got enough opportunity to put them in better positions too. So we don't think about that. So when we can start to think about that, we're going to be in a better place financially. So that's what I've really learned, over the going through the tribulations. That hey, you make some mistakes, you're going to do some things, but at the end of the day, you got to preserve and save for the future. And and you guys probably understand this too. Along the way, it's a lot of people that help you out, and it's very hard to tell those people no. And you have to figure out a way uh, um, to you want to do things for them because they may have done things for you, but you got to figure out a way to tell those people no, and be a little selfish, and that's very tough to do for a lot of people because it's a lot of people that do help you on your way to stardom, and you want to make sure you reward them, but you also got to be a little selfish and use that no word and put that in your vocabulary too as well. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you know, you got to be the one to live and you got to be the one to take care of your family.
Right, without a doubt. So Antoine, I got something. I'm gonna take you back to a blast of the past here. I want to see your reaction to this. So you give us your comment when you see this image.
That's last wedding.
That's last wedding. And the tallest groom on the whole picture.
That's a dope pick.
I tell you what, it was some players in that. We had Mikey
That's
Irvin.
a dope pick. That's a classic picture right there, man.
Man, we got Derek Chiefs in the NBA, Byron Irvin in the NBA,
Yeah.
Antoine Walker. We got Twine's point guard, Mikey Irvin. Look, Mike, hey Twine, Mike
Man,
probably had on the Rolex.
Man, that's a dope pick.
Thank you, sir.
And that was the first time I was going bald, cousin. I can see my bald head.
Jason, you in the background with a bald head.
Mikey looks
What say, Twine? Mikey look little.
Man, Mike he looks short. Man, Mike looks short. That's a classic dope pick right there.
So one thing I got to ask you about before you go, your daughter Elena, who plays for Northwestern University, she's a volleyball player. I got a chance to referee her when she was in Whitney Young. Northwestern not playing right now, but my question, man, is how much volleyball have you learned since watching Elena play?
Oh man, I've learned everything. I'm a full-fledged, just like Lance. I know everything about it from top off the bottom. It took me a while. It took me a couple of years to understand it fully and understand the rotations and, the scoring system and all that. But it's been enjoyable. Been great 4 years watching her play in the Big Ten. And volleyball, the Big Ten is probably the best conference in college. So I've got a chance to watch some of the better schools play. So it's been fun to watch her go through it. It's actually so disappointing. We're in a situation right now with this pandemic. She didn't get to play her senior year. So I'm hoping that she comes back and we get an opportunity so she can really play her 5th year, which would be, consider her senior year. So I'm hoping she does that. So just trying to convince her to do that. But she's still with the team right now. The plans is for her to come back her 5th year. But if we get to see her play her senior year. But it's been great. It's been it ain't basketball. It's different. But it's been fun watching her play.
That's the same thing I used to say with Bricky Twine. Like, why you not playing a family sport? She's like, no, Daddy, I'm playing with volleyball. Then AJ, her and Alana was on the same team. Twine and I was sitting there figuring out the rules. I was like, Twine, you know the rules? He's like, no, you know the rules, but we gonna figure it out.
And I'm the one reffing the game, and
we asking you about the rules.
Yeah, it took a couple years to learn. But...
Oh man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you coming on, baby, and just best of luck to you, man. We're always so proud of you, man, and you're welcome to come back here anytime, man, anytime. But thank you so much for coming on the show.
Floyd number 8.
Man, no problem.
Appreciate you.
Man, thanks for having me on the show, man. Appreciate it.
All right. That was Antoine Walker, everybody.
Appreciate it.
We're going to go to our commercial break, and then we're coming back with our final guest tonight. He is the head coach at Western Illinois University, Coach Rob Jeter. He'll be coming up right up after this on What's Up, Cuz.
Compassion, noun. Sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. We're all born with it. It's in us. Don't believe me? When you hear a baby cry, something pulls at you. You want to ease that pain. You want to soothe that hurt. No one had to teach you that. It's called compassion, and it's in you. However, at some point you turned it off when it came
to me.
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 The cries of my soul have gone unheard, but today, you will hear me.
My heart has wailed a melody loud enough to shatter your ears, and you ignored me. But this week, you will hear me.
This body has beat the drums of anguish, only to be silenced. But this month, you will hear me.
This year,
This decade,
This century,
I will be heard. And
you will be the one to hear me.
and when I am finally heard,
Show compassion.
show compassion.
show compassion.
Remember, it's in you.
African Americans here and across the country are contracting coronavirus at higher rates than others. People of color and those with underlying health conditions such as heart disease, diabetes, and asthma are being hit hard. Please protect yourself and your family. Wash your hands often. Clean and disinfect frequently touched items. Wear a cloth face covering in public places like the grocery store where it's hard to social distance. More importantly, stay at home as much as possible. Your safety and the safety of our community depends on it.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my big-headed cousin who's blocking his Christmas tree, Lance Irvin.
What's up, cuz? Tonight. That tree is decorated nice, though. But, cuz, you know what? Let me ask you a question. I'm not sure if I heard right because it was breaking up. Did Twan say he thinks one of the reasons that, he maybe not in the Hall of Fame because he didn't leave the game right?
He did. That was a real powerful statement he said too.
Man, like I didn't know if I could hear him right. That's something else to touch on too. And also when he mentioned that, man, I got good numbers. My numbers stack up there with everybody. But I was like, what's the but? But he's like, because of some of the stuff I'm dealing with, which you touched on. That was a great question from the finances and some of the other stuff he thinks. And then when he said Mark Aguirre is not in the Hall of Fame, I forgot about that.
Well, you know what? Here's my thing, Lance. And this is the What's Up Cuz show, so we don't mind saying stuff because we ain't mainstream media. We just say it. There's the people who vote on these Hall of Fames are often people who do not come from our community. They're oftentimes people who do not come from our community, and they're oftentimes people who do not like African American athletes who speak out and who have a mind and a voice of their own. We just lost Dick Allen last week from the White Sox, who was also not in the Hall of Fame. And Dick Allen often said it, and so does all his supporters. The only reason Dick Allen wasn't in the game because they didn't feel he left the game right. They thought he was too outspoken. I mean, this was a black guy in the 70s who said, you ain't going to treat me like no second-class citizen. You're going to treat me like the man that I am. And some people who are voting for these Hall of Fames and stuff, they have a problem with that. That's the only reason why Dick Allen isn't in the Hall of Fame. That's a big reason why Mark Aguirre isn't in the Hall of Fame. We know Mark family. Mark very outspoken. Same thing with Twan. Twan's very outspoken. And, the stuff that he went through is stuff that, Twan said himself that young black millionaires go through if you haven't been taught how to manage money. Certain situations you get caught up in. We all get caught up in chasing women. Twan has been a victim of a home robbery. He's been through a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, I do think some of that has come into play with some of these people who are on these Hall of Fame voting panels.
I mean, and I think, Jay, when you're younger, right, sometimes you really not thinking about how, like he said, it will impact you later during life. Like I just thought about Will Smith. Will Smith lost his first $1 million or $2 million when he was growing up. So there's a lesson in this, and it's a learning curve for everybody. But what are you doing to help other people, and what did you learn from the situations that you put yourself in? And I think Twan learned from that, and I think he's a better person for that. Because, like you said, though, he's been outspoken and he talked about his situation. So I was happy he was on the show to you know, to be able to talk about it. And I was happy Maya jumped out there and wasn't scared. That's why I love Maya.
Yeah, Antoine's a great guy, man. Great guy.
Lance, you're gonna stop messing with me. And by the way, I worked this out with Rob, and he's ready. So let's get back on task, okay?
Oh, good. We got Coach
my fault, Miss Producer. Excuse me.
So she's a super producer, man. She can handle the technical difficulties and everything. So let's get our final guest on. He is currently the head coach at Western Illinois University. He has been coaching a long time in college basketball, and he's my little cousin's boss, Nick Irvin. So let's bring him on. Coach Rob Jeter. Coach, how you doing, man?
What's up, fellas? I'm good.
What up, cuz? That's cousin Rob on the show. You know, I feel like Rob a cousin. Now, hey, you know what, Rob, I appreciate you being on the show, but like I said earlier, if you could put up with Nick for a couple of months, you deserve to have a spot on the show.
Yeah.
I was like, we have to get Rob on the show. How you feel? You doing good?
I'm good. Can you guys hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
All right, great.
I hear you great, but Rob, talk to us about what a lot of coaches doing when you dealing with COVID and some, like, how has COVID changed your coaching for you? Has it changed any this year? Because man, it's been tough for me. It's been brutal.
Yeah, it's just been a day by day process, right? So some days you might have 5 guys, some days you might have 10. You just don't know. Being tested for most of us, we get tested almost every other day. So you could lose guys. You come in the morning thinking you're going to have a practice, and then by, you know, after you take that test 40 minutes later, you might be missing a few guys. So it changes your mindset. It's kind of like you have to just prepare for everything.
And you know, also, Rob, with that being said, this is your first year at Western. You really did a good job at Wisconsin, Milwaukee. So I was happy for you to get another job. What drew you to want to coach at Western? Because quite frankly, Rob, Western really wasn't thought about, at least for me growing up, around here like it is now. And I think you're doing a good job getting players from Chicago to come there. So what things drove you to Western Illinois?
Well, you know, I grew up on the South Side. You know, you guys, I'm from Chicago. So really a chance to come back home, really, or be closer to home. And my first job in Milwaukee that you mentioned, I took over a program where, Bruce Pearl just took this team to the Sweet 16. The year before that, they had a chance to go to the second round of the NCAA tournament, but missed a layup. So, all intents and purposes, they had won 2 games in the NCAA tournament, 3 games, and I took over a program, and the pressure of doing that was something that was new to me. It was a different challenge, and then so this program was the opposite. A program that has not been to the tournament ever. A program that has been trying to find its way over the last since Coach Molinari left. I saw that as a whole new challenge for me and a chance to come closer to home. So I was really excited about having the chance to come down here and see if we can get something going. Because I know we can do it. We're too close to Chicago. I have too many ties from there. Hopefully, I just have the right coaching staff. I say that jokingly. Hopefully we get some players from up there.
Hey, Coach, let me ask you. So, obviously that's our first question. Anybody from Chicago, we all think of Western Illinois. We like Macomb, corn. All I can think about is corn. What they got out there in corn? So, you've coached in Las Vegas, for Christ's sakes. You was at UNLV. You've been in Minneapolis. You've been in Milwaukee. You've been in all these urban centers, and now you're in Macomb.
Yeah.
What type of culture shock was it for you when you first got there to Macomb? And how does your recruiting strategies kind of change to get kids to come into what is a completely different environment from what they may have been used to?
Well, let's not forget, I went to school at Wisconsin-Platteville. I went to
college. That's true.
So I think that town was about 10,000, and that was including the university students. So very similar. So I got my first coaching job there at Wisconsin-Platteville, Division III, small town. You can walk down Main Street, and you can see everyone from the guy there owned the State Farm deal to anyone who owned the pharmacy. You can see all of them. So it's pretty similar. It's a close-knit community. So I was used to that. So it wasn't that much of a culture shock coming down here. Now, if you ask my family, it's probably a little more of an adjustment for them. But for me, it's when you're coaching and you're recruiting, you're in and out of towns like this all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Vegas was a different one. Now, I'd love to go back. Good time, good place, but you know, your coaching path is not always, you know, it takes twists and turns, and it goes different routes. And for me, it was here in Macomb, and recruiting is about relationships, right? You know that.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. When I was in Vegas, I was recruiting kids from Chicago. When I was in Minneapolis, I recruited kids from Chicago. So now I'm here, only 3.5 hours from the city, and I'm gonna do the same thing. So I think, especially at this time, it was a little easier to get that first round of recruits because you couldn't visit. It wasn't like I was recruiting a kid and I had to wait for him to take 2 to 3 more visits somewhere else. You couldn't do any of that. So it was mainly about, do they trust me? Does the people around that recruit or kids, do they, you know, trust the staff and trust myself? And relationships were big. So it really helped us.
Mm-hmm. You know what, Rob? I have to ask you a different type question because I keep seeing that nice packet jersey. Rob, that's a nice packet jersey right there. Talk to me about that packet jersey, Rob. Whose jersey was that? Because people, so they could understand how you love football.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's not my jersey. I just put my name on the back. So the story is this. So I grew up on the South Side. The reason why I got down there was my dad played for the Bears. My dad played 3 years for the Chicago Bears, and that's where he ended his career. But he also played for the Green Bay Packers, and he won 2 Super Bowl rings, championships with the Packers. And obviously spending all the time I did in college in Wisconsin and then coaching all those years, 20 plus years in Wisconsin, you know, we would go to all the Packer games and that. I knew all the Packer legends and greats and all that. And so I hate to say it, 85 now, it was tough not being a Bears fan in 85. So long ago right now. I was teasing Nick. I asked him, I'm like, now, mathematically, are you guys still in the equation? And of course, he came up with some scenarios, but I say that jokingly. You know, obviously, Chicago guy, careful. But, you know, blood's thicker than water. I'm going to tell you right now, my dad, he's got rings from the Packers.
Hey, man, you got to go with the man who feeding you there, Coach. So I ain't mad at you. You better stick with your dad if you want to stay in the house.
Hey, Rob, talk to me. When you and I talked a couple of days ago, we was talking about, you know, it's tough coaching with COVID now. How you and I was talking about how, you know, basketball might be a little scary early on to get a little bit better. Talk to me about how your team is adjusting from a coaching and game management standpoint, because we all been short of practices and stuff like that. So talk to me about, you know, some of the things you and I talked about the other day.
Yeah, well, I'll try to highlight the differences just for us, right? Because we're all in the same boat. We're all, and sometimes we have numbers to do it and that. But I think the difference for us was that this team, out of 15 players on our roster, 14 of them are new, right? So, and these guys have all come from different places. So in the recruiting process, we tried to be strategic and recruit a group of kids that all knew each other, or at least had some familiarity with each other. So hence we have kids from Highland. You know, we have that strong connection, Chicago kids, obviously with Coach Nick. So we tried to do that. But the reality of it is we had not played a game together until we went to Iowa City. We had not had a full practice together until sometime in, I think it was early November, middle of November, when we was really able, middle of November, where we could actually go 5 versus 5 with our entire team. So that's the difference for us. And of course, you know, right now, you know, we're trying to establish standards. We're trying to establish a culture. We're trying to figure out how to win. We're trying to figure out how to guard. We're trying to learn the offense. We're trying to do all that in real time. And that's very difficult to do. And I think the biggest challenge with all that is that when you start in the program is that because you're doing all those things, you're always correcting. More of a, you know, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this isn't right, this isn't right. And especially with COVID, the kids can't, you know, my guys can't really, we can't hang out, so they can't see me in a different light. Only practice or in the film room, and a lot of times that isn't the prettiest, right? So, so that trust is tough. The trust and the bond of, you know, these guys, letting these guys know that you really care about them. I think that's probably the most difficult part for us. And then, so like I told you a few days ago, and even my athletic director, I'm like, the thing for us, all of our problems is going to play out in real time. All the ugliness is going to happen right out there in front of everyone because we just haven't had a lot of time together. But I really think that if we can just get through it, if people can see some progress, and if we can just get wins, you know how it goes. When you're winning, it breeds more success. When you're losing, man, it just seems to bring you down. And for all those teams that haven't had a lot of wins, it's not that those guys are that bad, because it's a very fine line. It's just that you got to get over the hump. So I'm hoping we can get over the hump here and get back on that positive side.
Once again, we're being joined by Western Illinois University men's head basketball coach Rob Jeter, who's a graduate of Quigley South. Rob, I get that correct?
Right,
Quigley South, which is now St. Rita, Rob. So,
well, somebody. They had to sell the school to somebody, so I guess St. Rita.
That's all right. That's all right, Rob. I went to Luther South and they just closed us. We ain't even get sold, so you good.
and you know what else, Rob? Our super producer, when you coached at Wisconsin, she used to hate Wisconsin because she went to Iowa. So I'm gonna see if she could come out and talk crazy about Wisconsin when you was whooping them.
She ain't about to talk about that. But I like, y'all keep going with the show. We running late.
I'm not gonna leave.
Coach, I'm gonna ask Coach a different question. Coach, you coached in a lot of different schools. We have people who are aspired to be coaches. And Lance, you can kind of answer this one too, because both of you guys have been in a lot of schools. Some you've left on your own, some they asked you to leave. Let's put it like that. You know, that's all part of the coaching genre. Talk a little bit about that, about people who are aspiring to become coaches.
Well, first of all, it's not as easy as everyone thinks. I think that's the first thing. I think the second part of it is like you really have to be willing to start at the bottom and really start without. When I say at the bottom, it doesn't mean you have to start where, you know, you're not at a high level or things like that. When I say bottom, meaning you're not going to get paid very much normally when you start coaching. And I think for a lot, that's difficult. So it depends when you get in. So let's say, or what you've done prior to that. So let's say you're fresh out of college. You like how I started. I started off at Wisconsin Platteville, Division III, where I went to school. So I came back, wasn't making much money. By the time I paid all my bills, I think I had a couple $100 in my pocket to kind of figure it out. But I loved it, right? So again, it's all about taking something that you love and make it your job. So all that smooths itself out. But then once you get into it, then you start to understand. You go through processes. First, it's like, okay, you're trying to figure out this is something that you can be good at. You know you love it. Then you got to figure, okay, can you win? Can you do all the things necessary to win? And then I think once you understand all that, then you see the bigger picture about how you're really, really giving back and being a mentor to kids and trying to give kids opportunities and really helping them to succeed. And then you get past that, then you get to that point where now you're invited to weddings and you get to see their kids grow up, and it becomes so fulfilling for you because it's like, okay, now you're doing something more than just put on a pair of shorts, put a whistle around your neck and practice. You're more about shaping. You're part of kids' lives. So I think that's the funnest part. That's the neatest part about it is that I see, I've got 14, 15 sons, they're all kids, right? Then you see them grow up and they come back and they start saying the same things that were said to you when you were a player by your coach. And then you said the same things to them, same to them. And now they're repeating the same things to you. It's like that. It's pretty neat. It really is. And it's so fulfilling.
I think J. Rob summed it up. I mean, oftentimes, like you want to start somewhere where you can learn. And it's tough getting into business. So once you get into business, you want to make the most out of where you are. Oftentimes people get caught up like, I'm here working at say school X, but I think I should be somewhere bigger. No, it's not about that. Like Rob said, do your best and help the student athletes that you're dealing with, and everything else will work out for itself.
Yeah.
Then when you move up a chair, sitting with Rob and I sitting right now, sometimes the job can be a little bit stressful from time to time, because oftentimes as African Americans, we're not going to get the top flight job starting out like some of our other colleagues. So it's just, hey, doing the best you can do, putting yourself in a good situation, and having good assistants that work for you. Like, I feel sorry for Rob, Jake, because Rob got Chad that thinks he's smooth. You got Nick that think he think he's smooth. And you got Heike over there. They all think they them dudes. But Rob, talk to me about who has the best shoe game on your staff. Who has the best? Who's in best shape? Because your staff, I don't know how you do it.
Yo, come on, you've been around me, man. There's not a dude on his staff that's going to outdress me or I know that right away. I tell you this though, out of my staff, I guarantee you, your brother's going to get a technical from me this year. Point. He's out on the court. He's all over the place. I'm looking around like, wait a second. As the official coach, hey, you got to get these guys down. I'm like, oh, they're teaching. They're teaching. He's like, no, they are. As long as they just keep them off the court.
Hey, Jason, Rob,
energy though.
I was going to say that. Go ahead, Rob.
The serious piece of that is that what I try to do now, and it took me a while to get to this point, is that when I first started, I tried to do everything, right? I was like, okay, offense, defense, I managed everything. Basically, my guys were just passers in practice, made sure they checked on the guys after practice, those types of things. And now, as I've gotten older, it's like, my job also is to help these guys become head coaches. And I was so proud of Coach Boudreau when he became head coach. He's very successful at it, right? And now we're back together. We all know Nick, he's high school AAU. I always tease like this isn't AAU. He always wait a second, he's always he wants to argue with me on that piece. But of course he's a successful coach as well. But I say all that to say that I try to give these guys ownership in what we do.
Great.
Love to see my guys up coaching and directing and teaching. I think it gets to, first of all, the guys know that, hey, their voice is just as important as mine. And my ego isn't one where this isn't my deal. Shoot, we're in this thing together.
Got you. Coach Rob, I got one final question for you, because it's the question that everyone here in Chicago asked me, and I said, I got their coach coming on the show. I'm going to ask him.
Right.
Here you go. What the hell is a leather neck?
Oh, Mike, what are you about to ask?
Fine, here's my version of it. We're grimy, we're gritty. That's what a leather neck is to me. Obviously, we had a athletic director who was a colonel. And he, it comes from all that military side. But my definition of a leatherneck is like, we're grimy, we're gritty, we're nasty, we get after it. So I've been on my guys. I don't like all that pretty finesse. We can't play that way. It's like being at UNLV and walking the ball up the court. It doesn't make trouble, right? I think for us, the same thing here, being a leatherneck, we've got to be nasty.
Got it. That's a great answer, Coach Rob. We appreciate it. We appreciate you taking care of my big head cousin Nick, Lance's little brother, and giving him a job and getting him out the house. So thank you so much, brother.
Thanks, Rob, man. Love you, man.
Hi.
Appreciate it.
Oh, man, that's all right.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming on.
Right, guys.
That was Coach Rob G. of Western Illinois. We're coming up on the end of our show here, cuz boy, man, we have a lot of people on the show today, brother. Man, we covered a lot of topics. Just a reminder, the Bulls preseason will continue. Next week will be the 21st. That'll be our final show of 2020. And then we're going to take a 1-week break to celebrate the holiday season, Christmas, and bring in the new year. And then we'll see everybody in 2021. But we got one more show remaining in this calendar year next week. So make sure you join us at 6:00. We're going to have some more good guests and some more topics. And, we really explored a lot here today, Lance.
Oh, man, we did, cuz you know what? I appreciate all our guests being on. We had some great guests. We had a great show. And I'm waiting to see your damn Christmas tree next week. My tree. I can't wait to see yours. So everybody, Jason Palmer will have his Christmas tree up next week. We will see it.
That means I got to make sure I have the lighting just right and everything perfect. Because now I'm going to be judged on my little decoration. So I will make sure I am on point. But for our super producer, Maya Kai, my cousin, Lancy Irvin, I'm Jason Palmer. Thank you for tuning in to What's Up, Cuz. We will see you next week at 6 p.m. Peace out, everybody. Download the app.
Please download that.